Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh players, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0. So, I gave you guys my Troop Dupe deck earlier today, so I figured I would give you guys a duel with it, because it's extremely trollsy and I really love playing with it. So I opened kind of terrible, so I decided to summon the Cyber Valley and hope that he doesn't attack me so that I can draw a Machine Dupe and then use it. So he goes for the Card Cardi, which makes me happy. I have no idea what he's doing. He's like, wait, I don't want to use my card Cardi's effect. I want to attack you. And he's like, you know what? Never mind. That would be dumb. So he decides to go for the card car's effect, and then ends up discarding a power bond at the end of the turn. Hell if I know what that was about. So I decide instead of actually doing anything during my turn, I'm just going to let my Cyber Valley keep doing its work. Because it seems to have been doing its job so far. So he sets a card, summons another Cyber Valley. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I decide I'm going to do the trollsiest thing I could possibly do. First I'm gonna MST his back row. Am I? No. I'm going to normal summon my card trooper, and I am not going to use its effect, which in retrospect wasn't probably the best idea. But I decided I'd just attack the Cyber Valley and make it burn its effect. So I attack the Cyber Valley, it burns its effect, and then I pass the turn. So at this point, I'm like, oh god, it's a Cyber Dragon deck. What am I going to do? Actually, I wasn't really sure what to think. So at this point, he has the incredible opportunity to go for a, Chimera Tech, but he decides instead of going for a Chimera Tech with 3,000 attack points, he's just going to Evolution Burst my Cyber Valley. So I'm like, sweet, whatever. So then he goes for Power Bond, and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. So I used to play Cyber Dragon, so I know exactly what he's doing here. He goes for the Cyber Twin Dragon, attempting to make a monster with 5,600 attack points that can attack twice. I decided, you know what, nope. So I hit the Torrential button, send my Trooper to the grave, and I draw for it, then I draw for turn. So now my hand is pretty ballin'. I've got a Machina Gear Frame, which I decide to summon. And I've got a Mass Chameleon, which can use that Machina Gear Frame to go for level 8 Synchro monsters. I've got a Gores, and now I'm about to have a Machina Fortress in my hand. So things are going pretty well for me. I'm going to attack. Troop Dupe. It's just going well. So he hits the Swift Scarecrow button. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Go for it. Far be it from me to make you lose 1,800 life points. So yeah, he draws for turn. I'm sitting here like, oh, and now he's got a Cyber Dragon, and once again, he fails to go for the Chimera Attack. And he does a little pause after this, where I think he realizes, holy shit, I could have been Chimera attacking his monsters this entire time. So I take the 300. I'm like, cool, whatever. Because I've got options at this point. So I get the Machina Fortress, and I'm like ballin'. So I MST his back row because I set an MST for no reason last turn. And what the hell is Psychic Shockwave? Alright, so apparently this guy's got some Jinzo going on in there. So I decided to go for the Machina Fortress play. And I kid you not, at this moment I was thinking, you know what, he's probably got Honest in his hand, which is why he didn't go for Chimera Attack. So if I attack him, I really hope he uses that Honest, because then I'll take out the Honest and the Cyber Dragon. And lo and behold, here goes the Honest. So he apparently does not realize the extent to which my Cyber Dragon, or my Machina Fortress can screw things up for him. So he's gonna lose his Cyber Dragon, which I imagine would make him no ends of salty. I'm just like, you know what, I got a Gores. I'll sit here. So he decides to end his turn, which kind of annoys me, because I wanted him to do something. So I'm looking at my extra deck, trying to decide if there's any good reason for me to go for a level 8 Synchro right now. I decide there isn't. My only options are Crimson Blader, Thought Ruler, and Scrap Dragon. So I decide those are all better saved for later. So I use my Machina Cannon, which I was about to normal summon like a scrub, to summon my Machina Fortress. This is where things get crazy. Actually, this is pretty much just where I attack with Machina Fortress. So I attack with Machina Fortress, he lets it go, and I'm like, you know what, I pretty much got this. So I set my Phoenix Wing Wind Blast and a Forbidden Lance. Oh, no, I decided to end my turn without setting the Wing Blast. I think he's finally gotten the hint about how to take out my deck with those Fortress Dragons, because apparently he hadn't figured out by this time that I was running a machine deck. So he goes for the Cyber Dragon's Vi, reveals a Dark Hole, and I'm like ballin'. He's got a Dark Hole in his hand, and I know it's there. So he goes for the Chimera Tech with 2,000 attack points, and decides to run into me for 2,000. At which point I hit the Gores button, which he has no response to. I was kind of hoping he would Dark Hole his own Fortress Dragon. So I draw into a Birdman, which is essentially useless at this point. Usually Birdman, in my old versions of Machina Mash, I would use Birdman to bounce back. I'd have 3 Birdman in the deck, and I would use it to bounce back my Eltanin, which I do still have 3 of in this deck, in order to reuse it to discard for Fortress after I clear the board, or to reuse a Machina What's-His-Futs, Machina Gear Frame. So my Birdman's pretty much useless at this point, but I know he's got the Dark Hole, so I decide to set the Lance so I can Lance my Gores, because why not? So in all reality, I'm pretty okay at this point. So I allow it to go through because, why would I? And he's like, Cyber Larva, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So he's got 2,800 life points left. I've got a Wing Blast and a Lance, and I've got Mass Chameleon and Debris Dragon in my hand. I was thinking about going for the Black Rose play, then I realized, what the hell am I thinking? I have a great plan. Yeah, because Mass Chameleon is great in this deck because Machina Gear Frame has 0 defense. I imagine there's something else in here that has 0 defense, but I don't remember what it was. So I figure Mass Chameleon works pretty nicely at 1 in this deck, especially since I can go for that Gear Gigant play. So I use his effect to summon Gear Frame from my grave. And I decide it's time to Scrap Dragon his ass. And I do it. And he says GG. And that's the game. So that's pretty much how Troop Dupe works when I don't get a machine duplication. I will put up another duel later, hopefully one where I actually have a dupe,